Lowriders.
That's making it as an intro. All right, how you doing, Dad?
That is?
Oh, fuck yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh, jeez. Poor folks.
These poor people. All right, what are we talking about today, Pops?
It's up to you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask you about was 2020 versus 2021.
Yeah.
So when we're filming this beginning of August, if you're not aware, all the manufacturers, most all the manufacturers, this is when the next model year is coming to market. Makes no sense if you're a layperson like me. You always see the commercials on TV and you're like in the midst of summer of this year and they say, well, next year's models have just arrived.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a little bit behind the times, but we have dealerships like BMW, for example, who's already been receiving a ton of their 2021 inventory.
Yes.
And especially this year, we've been dealing with the global pandemic. We have lots of videos about used car supplies being high and new car supplies being low, yada, yada, yada.
No, used car supplies being low. New car supplies being both low.
Well, used car supply has been high enough to... All right, that's a... Yes, but new car supply has been low.
Yes.
It
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
long story short is wanted to get some insights from you from the dealership perspective when you are having model years flip.
Yeah.
How does that impact how you manage inventory? How
Yes.
you engage with customers who are interested in either a 2020 or a 2021? You know, like, can you talk us through what impacts it has from the dealership perspective? And I'd also appreciate if you can talk about how your factory rep, kind of what they want to see you do. Do they want to see you get rid of last year's stuff, this year's stuff? Talk to me. Fill us all in on what's going on at these dealerships. And do it in about 30 seconds, please.
Not a problem. Sell all the shit. It's pretty simple. Just sell all the shit. You sell the 2020s for less than you'd sell the 2021s. People go, well, I want a deal on a 2021. Hey, 2021s just came in, folks. I mean, well, you know, come on. Give me, I got a year to sell those. You want a deal? Talk to me about a 2020. Go out there, find a 2020 that, I don't know, tickles your fancy, and I'll make the price right for you. But if you're looking for a deal on a 2021, come see me in about 9 months.
Really?
Well, okay, 30, 60 days. But yeah, I mean, you know, realistically, you have a year to sell them before they become distressed merchandise and you go, I got to get rid of it.
So I guess my question...
But, you know, obviously, if you're really concerned about managing your inventory.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, like, speak to that a little bit.
You know, the difference is you'll sell a 2021, you won't discount it nearly as much as you'll sell a 2020 model.
So even if you've had a 2020 on your lot for not that long, you would still be more predisposed to discount.
Yeah, I want to get rid of it.
Gotcha.
I want to get rid of it. It's that one's decreasing in value faster than the 2020.
Do the manufacturers assign like allocations or distributions of like your inventory should only contain this much from last year's model year or things like that?
No.
But
But they get concerned if you're not selling them, which, you know, the 2020s will have larger incentives from the factory, where a 2021 might not have any incentive.
And you mean both dealer and customer incentives?
Both. Could be finance incentive, it could be cash incentive, whatever. But, you know, even the manufacturer recognizes that, well, the 2021's the newest, so we don't need to support that to the same degree that we need to throw money at the 2020 to get rid of that.
So I guess another question I have is we've talked about in some other videos how end of the calendar year in December is the best time to buy a car. Is August also a good time to be looking at cars, or
could be
because they're
because the model year changeover? Absolutely, yeah. Dealers are, you know, you've heard me tell stories that when I worked for the Penske organization, going into we'll be going into what 2021. So going into January 2021, if I was still running a Penske new car dealership, it would be in my best interests to not have any 2020 model year cars still in inventory come January 1st, 2021.
Is that like what your area VP was telling you?
I think that one used to come directly from Roger.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Roger did not want us to have prior model year cars going into the next calendar year.
Wow.
So I knew that. You know, I worked for them for a long time. I knew that starting in September. I was figuring out ways to get rid of my current model year so that when I would get to, well, typically in my case, by the time I was in the middle of December, I was out of
out of the
Yeah,
past.
yeah. I didn't want to get on Roger's bad side.
No, it makes sense. It really, really does.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder about, and I think a lot of people that are watching this, if you've done your research, you've come across on occasion like these 20, so we're in 2020 right now as we're filming this, you'll come across like a 2018 or a 2019 that's still on a dealer's lot, listed as new because it's never been titled, but it's been like a loaner or it's been a demo, I guess, is
Could
something
be.
like that.
Now,
How do those end up
the
stuck?
problem with that
Yeah.
is, for instance, in a normal year, and this has not been a normal year, but in a normal year, say 2019 going into 2020, prior to the pandemic.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Okay, in a normal year, manufacturers would say, come March or come April, we're taking off whatever incentives we had on the 2019s. So you need to get rid of them by March or April. Because there's not going to be any more factory incentives. Or there's not going to be any propping up of residual values or lowering of lease rates.
No, I get it.
In order to help you sell those. So in a normal year, you'd be out of the incentive. So if you're sitting here and it's August 2020 and you still have a brand new 2018, well, all your factory incentives are long gone.
Definitely.
Okay, so you're unless you got a lump sum cash payment on that car back in, because some manufacturers do that after a certain period of time. They'll just say, okay, here's the last payment we're going to give you towards this car.
What do you mean? What is this? I don't understand this.
So instead of the incentive being a customer incentive, it's a dealer incentive, and they just go, okay, we're gonna give you $3,000. You take as much time as you want or as little time as you want to finally sell this car.
Really?
And you can use it to lower the cost of the car. Okay, and it's just a lump sum.
And this is not common. This is like on select units.
It's for certain brands. If they've been in inventory too long, certain brands will do this. Audi was famous for doing this.
So, like when you were at the Audi dealership, every month
we would have cars that if they'd been there too long, they would just say, "Okay, there's no more incentives. We're just giving you a lump sum cash. Charge it against the car to reduce the cost of the car and sell the son of a bitch."
That is so interesting.
Okay, so there's nothing coming from the factory beyond this. At any point beyond this. So if you're sitting on a 2018, you've already collected all the money you were going to ever collect as an incentive from the factory to sell that car.
The more we do these videos together, Dad, and I learn more about the factory to dealer relationship.
Yeah.
It really just seems like the factory subsidizes everything. I mean, they must make all the money, because how can they afford to just constantly be throwing what seems like thousands of dollars per unit?
Okay, well, here, I'll help you with that to reinforce what you're saying.
Yeah.
Pretty big car company, Volkswagen.
Yeah,
they
VW.
own Audi. They own Porsche. They own a lot of different
They own Lamborghini.
Yeah.
They own...
And what was it, 3-4 years ago? They had a situation where they...
the emission scandal?
Yeah, with the diesels.
Yeah.
And what was it, a 10 or 11 or $12 billion settlement they made?
Yeah, it was pretty substantial, it seems.
Yeah, and you would think, well, that's a lot of money. Okay, they're still in business.
Yeah, no, it
they're
really
still
is,
worth a lot of money.
It really is the manufacturer that makes a ton.
Yes.
Not the dealership.
Bingo.
Yeah. So then they really dictate and set the rule. Well, on a dealership level. So when you were at Penske, they had kind of corporate practices that you needed to follow in terms of inventory management, and that's more like a proprietary business practice. Like we think our margins will be better because we do this, this, and this. But then from the manufacturer,
we know that our costs for floor planning and stuff will be kept to a minimum because
So if you were working at a mom and pop shop, they might have totally different rules.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then from the manufacturer perspective, there comes this tipping point where they just say, essentially, screw it.
They say, here's some money. We're done with it. Now it's all on you. Literally.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Well,
it's like paying to get rid of your problems.
Well, yeah, and dealers would say, no, you're not paying enough.
Yeah.
And the manufacturer would say, well, we're of the opinion we're paying too much.
I have one more question relating to this, if you don't mind, which is allocation of inventory.
Yeah.
So do dealers get to choose which new 2021s they're going to get, or do they have to negotiate with the factory? How does that work?
Well, you get allocated X number of models. Like
Is it based off of historical volume?
It's based off of I know Mini, for instance, had the most convoluted mathematical equation that they would use as to how they allocated cars that nobody could ever explain.
This is like advanced car math?
This is like Stephen Hawking couldn't have figured it out. Okay? and
That's terrible.
It is, but it's true. Okay? So they would have like a 90-day turn policy as to how many cars you sold in 90 days, but they subtract 6 days from that for Sundays when you weren't open, so it was really 84 days, and it was this and it was that. And it was so convoluted, but what they do is they say, okay, in that amount of time, for the month of August, you earned 6 hardtops, 3 clubmen, and they give you a number, and then you get to select within each model whether you wanted a regular hardtop or you wanted an S hardtop, whether you wanted a regular clubman or an S clubman, whether you wanted an all-4 or a front-wheel drive.
Gotcha.
So that's pretty much the way most manufacturers do it. It's called a turn and earn system. The faster you turn them, the more you earn them.
Interesting.
Okay, and so that you're given, if it's an Acura dealership, you're given, okay, you've earned 40 TLs this month. Now, out of those 40, you decide how you want them broken up, in what colors, in what equipment,
what trim levels,
things like that, and we'll do our best to get it to you the way you want it.
Interesting.
But it doesn't mean they're going to give it to you that way. We'll do our best.
Gotcha.
Do our best. And their best is, well, they're not trying real hard. I can tell you that. We're going to do our best to get rid of what we have and force you to take it. So that's how it works. It's a turn and earn system. You earn a large number, and then in that number you can break down what you want model-wise and trim level-wise and color-wise and interior-wise. It's a pain in the ass, but yeah, it's interesting.
All right, so if you're thinking about next model year,
yes,
and you're doing your research online, recognize that from my dad's perspective, you don't have much leverage because the dealership doesn't really care that you want a good deal on it. They've got other previous model years that they're more predisposed.
That they have to sell, and that they have incentives on
exactly
to sell, and that the manufacturer's putting money to help you sell them.
Exactly.
And they're not putting the money towards the new ones yet, towards the 2021s.
Makes sense.
When a brand new model comes out, well, the manufacturers don't support those at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's brand new. People are going to come buy it anyway. You think Ford has to put any money on, I don't know, the new Bronco? I'm pretty sure they don't.
No way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the newer it is, the lower the incentives. The older it is, the greater the incentives.
Well said.
Yeah. So you want to save some money? You go find a 2020 out there that'll work for you.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Yeah, I have
simple.
I have no take on time today, so I apologize.
I just spent all your money on watches
And wine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome. Thank you, Zach.